Battlefield 2042 is out, and we've got very early reports and gameplay, and while the multiplayer and Portal, which is what I'm looking forward to, look amazing, unfortunately Hazard Zone is looking to turn out trash, which, as much as I didn't want to say it, is exactly what I expected the more I heard about it. Well, initially I was extremely excited about the mode. Escape from Tarkov, Hunt Showdown in Battlefield. You couldn't have made something more up my street. The more information we got, the lazier it sounded, and the final nail in the coffin is when they said it wasn't going to be free to play. Something that was free to play, something that was meant to go head to head with Warzone, that was going to need to stand on its own 2 feet. It was going to need to be an entirely new game. It was going to have to require a lot more effort put into it. And it looks like they didn't want to do that. Instead, what we've got is the same multiplayer maps, just with less players on it. And that leads to these reviews, which are predictable. It's boring.
We just have to deal with the fact that DICE just doesn't seem to be able to make any sort of battle royale or extraction royale experience in any sort of competent manner.
I haven't even changed the player health or the weapons or anything about the game. All you've got is less players put into it, and then they've added a couple of extractions and called it a mode. It seems to be created by developers that don't actually understand the soul of the games they were trying to replicate in the first place. Something that was intimate, full of tension, atmosphere, risk. And yet in this, there's none of that. You can't just port over the multiplayer maps, which have huge areas of no cover, into a mode like this and expect it to be valuable. This is meant to be about risk and putting things on the line, and you can't do that if you're just running across an open field with absolutely nothing you can do if somebody sees you. And yet that is what you've got. And these issues lead to other things down the line. You've got the multiplayer maps, which you haven't bothered to edit. So then you'd have to change something like the health, but you haven't bothered to do that. So now people which die quickly are running across open ground. So that means that if you actually put in a huge amount of risk, which is what adds the atmosphere, which is what adds all the tension, which is why people play those games, well, now it's not fair. That would be incredibly frustrating, because the game developers haven't given you the tools or the map in order to choose something which lowers your risk profile. So you're risking a lot, while also not being able to minimize that or use skill in any way, shape, or form. This leads the developers to be forced to lower the risk to prevent player frustration.
A big flaw with it is that the mode has a complete lack of economic reward or punishment. A single victory can get you fully kitted for like 4 to 5 games. And considering that there's only 8 teams total with 2 chances of victory per match, then statistically, you should be running fully kitted most of the time that you play.
So there's literally no risk, there's no danger, there's no considering should I take this gear or this gear. Most people are going to be running fully geared, so if you don't, you're at a disadvantage. And that removes all of the tension, all of the stress, all of the anxiety, all of the atmosphere from the game. Which is exactly why people play Escape from Tarkov to begin with. This is something that has stripped the soul from the mode, and all you're left with is an empty husk that nobody wants to play. All of the reports seem to be, it was okay for an hour, but I never really wanted to play it ever again. And honestly, looking at the gameplay, and I don't just mean a full-length gameplay, I mean the highlight videos, it just looks boring. Now, in 12 hours, I'll be able to confirm it for myself, but all of the reports just seem to be what I expected it to be in the first place. Playing the multiplayer maps in the beta already showed me that that map was not going to work for a mode like Escape from Tarkov. And I was right. Which is why they haven't designed a mode like Escape from Tarkov in the first place. Or actually, I keep saying Escape from Tarkov, it's always been more of a Hunt Showdown, let's be honest. And this is a massive disappointment for me. I really think that a free-to-play version of this mode, which actually had a lot of game development time put into it, could have been incredible. It could have been a massive hit all on its own. And yet they couldn't be bothered to put the time in. They missed what it was meant to be.
Unfortunately, there's almost no innovation in this mode. It only borrows from other modes that have more or less done everything better than Hazard Zone does. If you're looking for an extraction royale, go play Hunt Showdown, go play Tarkov, or the other 5-ish games out there that all do this but significantly better.
This kind of lazy development works for a battle royale. Battle royales don't take that much when you've already got all the assets. It's just a map with some players that drop in, guns all over the floor, and then you get knocked out and don't respawn. That's about all a BR takes. And yet a map mode like this, it takes more effort, it takes more time, and so I'm not surprised they missed the mark if they weren't willing to commit the resources to it in the first place. It's just so unfortunate to me that I love games like Escape from Tarkov. They're just so few and far between, and Escape from Tarkov, its development pace it's really not enough to be the leader in this genre, and yet it is, because nobody else is even willing to take it on. DICE could have actually come forward and made a competitor. It could have led the space. Instead, what we get is this. And that will probably be my biggest disappointment of Battlefield 2042. What I'm really looking forward to is Bad Company 2 Portal, and that looks incredible. The multiplayer is shaping up to be great, except for what looks like some unfortunate vehicle balancing at the moment, which was also very prevalent in the beta. But even from the initial reveal of Battle 42, when we first heard that Hazard Zone was going to be some kind of Escape from Tarkov Hunt Showdown-like mode, that was always the one I was most interested in, and they kept not revealing any details or showing any gameplay, and now I can see why. Because it looks awful, it looks lazy, and it looks like they have no idea of the games they were trying to replicate in the first place, and it's such a shame. So while I'm excited for Battlefield 2042 and the Portal modes and multiplayer, this will always be my biggest disappointment. I think it could have been great fun if they just actually put in the work and got people that understood the genre, understood the games to actually make it and put them in charge. But as it is, I think this is a massive disappointment for me and a massive missed opportunity for DICE. But for now, that's it from me. If you liked the video, press like and subscribe for more videos in the future, and let me know what you're thinking of Battlefield 2042. Are you excited for it, or are you just looking forward to something like Halo instead? Let me know, but for now, that's it from me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.